Hello and welcome to my videos. My name is Ashish and today we will learn the concept of static block and instance initializer block. We will also check the differences and the execution order of the class constructors and initializer blocks. In Java, both static and instance initializer are used to initialize the state of a class or an object. They are executed at different times during the life cycle of a class or object. Let's look at static initializer. It is also called as static block. Let's look at use cases. If you want to initialize static variables or perform one-time setup tasks for the class, then you can use static initializer. Static initializers are executed when the class is first loaded into JVM before the object initialization. They run only once regardless of how many instances of the class are created. The static blocks are always execute first before the main method in Java because the compiler stores them in the memory at the time of class loading and before the object creation. The class can have multiple static blocks and they will execute in the same order as they appear in the class. Static blocks of a parent class execute first because the compiler loads parent class before the child class. Let's look at the example. So here in this example, we have two static blocks in my class and there is one system.out in main. So the output you can expect will be static block 1, then static block 2 and then main method. This is how your output will look like. Let's look at instance initializer. Instance initializer is also called as instance block and the use case is when you are trying to initialize instance variables or performing instance specific setup tasks. Instance initializers are executed each time an instance of the class is created and before the constructor is invoked. This is very important. They run in the order in which they appear in the class, just like static blocks. Static initializer blocks always execute before the instance initialization blocks because the static blocks run at the time of class loading. This is again very important step. Because static initializer block runs at the time of class loading, it will be always executed before the instance initializer. However, the instance block runs at the time of only at the time of instance creation. The instance initializer blocks execute during every constructor invocation since the compiler copies the initializer block in the constructor itself. So important point here is every time constructor is getting invoked at that time, initializer block is also going to get executed because initializer block is copied inside constructor only. The compiler executes the parent class instance block before executing the current class instance block. The compiler invokes the parent class constructor by super and instance blocks execute at the time of constructor invocation. So let's look at this by example. So in this code, I have instance block example. So we have two instance initializers, two system.out.println. So and then we have constructor and we have main method. Inside main method, we are creating instance variable of instance block example class named IIB. And last statement of the main method is system.out.println main method. So order in which this code will be executed is first we should get instance initializer block 1, then block 2, then constructor, and last it will be main method. So this is how the output of that code will look like. The next example is we will consider a static block along with this is the first is static block, the second we have instance block, and then we have public example constructor. This is example class, so this is a constructor, and inside main method we have system.out.println main method, and after that we are creating two objects of this example class. So here what we should look the output we should look like is first this static block will executed only once because this class whenever this class example will be loaded by class loader, that time only the static block will be executed. After that we should see this main method from the public static void main system.out this statement will be executed. After that we should see when we are trying to create obj1 object of example class, then first these instance initializer block will get invoked, then we'll see constructor, and similarly we should see same sequence of execution for object 2. So in the summary, we should see static initializer block first, then main method, and then instance initializer block and constructor. So one thing important we have to remember is static initializer block is only executed once at the time of loading that class into the memory. So thanks for watching my video. If you're liking and if this content is helping you, then please like, share, and subscribe so that this content will reach to the more and more people. Thank you.